Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I would just like to show you this little snake game that I made in Java. So, it's all on GitHub. I'll leave the link in the description, github.com/fluffster4/javasnake. So, it's the graphical style and the modes are inspired by Twitter Plays Snake, which is a Twitter bot which plays Snake, but this is a desktop app, and I wrote all the code for it. So yeah, so let's start with how it works. I'm gonna just close all these. There are a few bugs, but not a lot. So the first thing is in the main class, which we create a menu window. Menu window is equal to new menu window. Now, that calls in the menu package. We have menu window, which extends JFrame. This is using Java Auth or Java Swing, and we read from the resources folder, which is here. So we Apple at PNG. This is the Apple used. We create a new timer, and we set the title, set the size, set the icon, stuff like that. This is called Snake Plus. We just paint it. It's a very simple background drawing with a few snakes on it. And then we detect when the start button is pressed, and when it is pressed, we start the main window. Now the main window is where the actual snake game loop happens. So you have a game loop timer, which is where most of the stuff happens. And then we have a background timer, which is for one background task. Meet the game board matrix, which is just a 2-layer integer array. We create a random. Then we actually create a snake. Now the snake object just has an X and Y. This is on the grid. So there's a grid with an X and Y, which I'll get to shortly. The snake type, and this is just an enum of normal, evil, fat, and ram, which I'll also get to what those modes do. We have a deque of snake sections. We instantiate it, and by default there are 2 snake sections facing left. There's a set type, there's a get type, add section, which just adds a new section in the direction that it's moving, and depending on this variable, adds or removes the tail. Coordinates, this isn't used. I can actually delete you because no one uses you. This was part of the old death detection system, which doesn't work. We have get length, which just returns the snake length, and get section at a certain index, which returns that section. Apple X, Apple Y. Then we have some synchronous locks. Is dead, snake move delay. This is in milliseconds. The default move in direction. We just have a bunch of sprites all in the snake folder. So we have evil, fat, flush, which is the normal one, and mad. Now all of these are represented default modes. Is move cancelled, part of the movement system, and then we open this JSON file, deathmessage.json, which just has a bunch of death messages based off of the current mode that you are in, and the death message string. When we instantiate, we set up the window. So we create a new snake task, which is just a timer task, which updates the snake. Ability task, which just generates a random number and triggers whether or not we change the snake type. You schedule the 2 tasks, and this generates an apple, and it's a random X and Y. It's a function. It randomly generates. And we have this little recursion where essentially if it generates a apple in a position in which the snake is in, we just call the function again until it isn't. And then it sets that X and 1 on the matrix to 1. Now, something about the matrix. So 1 is an apple, if I can spell. 2 is a body snake. This is just the body of the snake. And 3 is the head, because the head has the different pictures for it. There's a separate name for it, and the body is just a solid color. Reset matrix resets the game board all to zeros. Die, it says is that to through, and throws a new die exception, which is just used for detection. This is just part of the key listener in a synchronize with the move lock. The evil snake, which I'll get to shortly, inverts the controls. So this is just inverted. This is the normal ones. And it sets it calls change move, which sets the move in direction to the new direction. Is move cancelled to true. It cancels the snake task. It removes it from the timer. It makes a new snake task and schedules it again and updates the snake. Then we have is double buffered. This is the update snake. This is how the snake moves. It's also in the move lock synchronized. If the move is cancelled, it just sets that to false and returns. Then we have a try statement. This is used for death detection once again. The try block. Boolean remove trail, by default that's true. We are checking if the player ate an apple. If they did, we set remove tail to false and generate a new apple. Also, if they are in the fat mode, they die. Because fat snakes can't eat apples. And if they're in the ram mode, they exit ram mode. This is just for the ram snake, which basically detects when they should exit ram mode. Which I'll get to what the modes do later, as I said. This just detects if you run into yourself. Some simple loops and if statements. Then we reset the game board, put the apple in, add the section, which is once again part of the snake class. This is all on GitHub if you want to investigate it further. And we update the game board by setting it the 3 or 2 or snake body. And basically, regardless, and if an exception is triggered by this try block, well, not this one, but this one, then that means you died by hitting it against the wall. And here we basically make sure that no matter what, we repaint the game board, which updates the game board. Now that's basically it. I'll just say what the modes do. So the fat snake is just a normal snake, except you can't eat an apple. If you eat an apple, you lose. The evil snake is a snake, but it's evil, and all the controls are inverted. So up becomes down, down becomes up, left becomes right, and right becomes left. And finally we have the ram snake, which is the most complicated one. It basically keeps moving until it either eats an apple or hits the wall, but it doesn't hit the wall. It just moves up right next to the wall, so you have to move out of the way. And when it's in RAM mode, you can't control it. It's basically uncontrollable. So then there's also the double buffer class, which is just, it's a double buffer. It's simple. And yeah, that's basically it. Like, we don't really use these two classes other than matrix utils, which just does the distance formula between finding 2 points and the graph. Probably learned that in school. And then we have, in here we just have the snake coordinate class, which just has an X and Y. Direction, which is an enum. Up, down, left, right. Drawable, which is used for grid drawing. Here are the parameters. And it just has a draw function. Game colors just possesses the game colors, so normal snake color, evil snake color, fat snake color, background color, and ram snake color. Grid, which I never got to, has rows, columns, has an X offset and Y offset, and a grid box length. This is how big each grid cell is, and we just pass the graphics. And we just draw it. It basically just makes sure it's a valid row or column, calculates how far away it should be, and then just does the draw code, which is a drawable, that draw at the positions. And yeah, that's it. We also have snake section, which is what the snake is made out of. There's is head, is tail, and direction. the X and Y. This is the constructor, and it's basically a bunch of getters and setters. So, without further ado, let's actually run this bad boy. And see, so this is the background, which we paint. I know the start button is kind of ugly, or fix that, but yeah, and when we press start, it's controlled by the arrow keys. So, I'm pretty bad at Snake, so don't make fun of me. It sometimes skips a cell, but that's really rare. I don't know why that happens. Like, just now it happened. But overall, it's a very playable game, and it's quite fun to play because of the custom. As you can see, this is the Ram Snake, which I died to. But yeah, and I didn't really cover the death screen because it's not really anything special. But essentially, if I die here, you can die by running into your own tail, but that takes time. And it tells you the score. It says game over, the random death message, and press enter to restart. If you press enter, you just restart your pain and misery. So that was Snake Plus, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and bye.